All right, team. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm the founder and CEO of Gar Capital. It is Thursday, December 19th, 2024, officially 6 days away from Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody. I didn't do a YouTube this week really because it is the week before the holiday. I was doing the radio, the Gar live radio on our Discord server. That's for our paid members. I get to go into a little more detail on the things that we have open and trades that we want to have set up. But for now, obviously after some volatility, I got to check in with you guys, talk about what's going on. So glad to be with you this morning, a little earlier than usual. But again, as of yesterday, we had the rate cut from the Federal Reserve, but yet bond yields bounced up. How can that be possible, Carlos? So we're going to explain it here in a second. Let's check futures. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about what happened yesterday. Dow futures are up 285 points. The Nasdaq's up about 0.60. S&P's up 0.69%, while the Russell's up 0.81%. 10-year Treasury yields 4.552. Got to watch out for that 10-year. That affects mortgage rates, which affects people trying to refinance or buy homes. Lennar just reported earnings and their stock was down. So eyes up. Dollar index 108. Highest since November of 2022. Remember when inflation was in 2022? It's 2 years ago. Volatility index soared. We had VIX calls as a hedge. Of course, it expires the same day that it goes in the money. 2109 on the VIX, now down 23%. Crude oil is up about 0.5%. It's not a panic. And why do I say that? Look at gold, down 1.60%. Gold was red yesterday, even with Powell. So you're not getting that fear out there. What you got here, guys, is good old fashioned profit taking. You got it. Let's take a look back in time and see where we were just last month. We were at 57.29 just last month on the S&P. We hit 61.63. If we go back since August, we were at 53.51. We hit 61.63. Guys, it has just been an absolute monster rally, even before the election. And then after election, we added some more gasoline on top of it. Good news is that we're holding the 50-day. We did get a contract rollover, so numbers are a little off on the future side. Got that 20-day moving average up there. That's what we want to break. So futures traders, I went ahead and told everybody on the futures group, we're going to keep an eye on this. 6,000 is the level that we're going to watch. I want to kind of put the stop, not really the stop, but my level of support right near the 50-day. We're going to use that as our pivot for a bounce play if we get that today. Now, the really only concern from yesterday was the fact that the FOMC and Fed Chair Powell did not, I guess, for lack of a better word, guarantee continued rate cuts. We got a rate cut yesterday, 25 basis points. And again, that affects Fed fund futures, fair, deposits, loans and stuff like that, margin. But when it comes to mortgages, Fed funds does not affect that. That's MBS, mortgage-backed securities. That's more pegged to the 10-year Treasury yield. So the 10-year Treasury yield is really what you want to look at. You can see we're kind of stalling here around 59.80, 59.79. So again, be patient. There's really nothing to do here until we get some continuation confirmation. I don't want a dead kitty bounce. If we're going to play long, it better go higher. That's what I want. I don't want, just some chop fest, No, 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 no. This is Christmas time. We don't mess around. We want to make sure we get money. Options members, Monday was amazing. 3 for 3 right off the rip. Tuesday and Wednesday, we were very patient, like a couple of snipers just waiting in the weeds, waiting for that clear shot. I think today we'll get some clear shots on what we want to do. So thank you for the team for being patient. I know it has been a little slow. It is the holidays, but I am not going to risk your capital or mine just because we're bored. We want to make sure that we have high probability setups. That's the key. In terms of yesterday, could we have predicted that pullback? Well, to be quite honest, I was expecting a pullback in the morning, but we had a push higher yesterday. We were up triple digits on the Dow, that flipped, and then we got the 25 basis points, the dot plot update. Right now we're pricing in, or the market's pricing in, only 2 more rate cuts next year. Only 2. So it could be that the easing cycle might be over. Now, why is that? Well, it's very simple. People are still working. And if people are working, they're going to spend. And if they're going to spend, inflation goes up. Bottom line. The only way you're going to get prices down, team, is if people are not working. Demand. We can't make homes fast enough to make housing cheaper. We have to really add the supply out there, which will nuke everyone else's prices. So can't really do that. So the only way to bring down prices is through demand. So we just had a GDP number that came in at 3.2%. That beat expectations. Jobless claims came in lower than expected. I hate to say it, and I don't root for this sort of thing, but the market wants a pullback. The market wants people to stop working. They want labor market to be controlled so wages can go down, inflation could go down. That's really the key. And that's really hard to look forward to. We don't want that, obviously, as empathetic human beings that we are. But if we're discussing capitalist pigs, which I am, obviously, day trading for a living, yeah, we're gonna need some lower labor rates here. We're gonna need some people laid off. We're gonna need wages to go down. We need people to stop traveling and stop buying things. Retail sales also beat. So that's what's happening currently, team. So how's this? What happened yesterday? Again, we've had this miraculous move up before the election and after. We have back-to-back years, 2023 and 2024, of over 20% price gain on the S&P. That's not exactly usual. And again, guys, you don't need an excuse to sell, but you do need an excuse to buy. That's for sure. So this just tells me it's profit taking. Welcome back to November 12th. We just went back a month and 5 weeks back in time. We recheck a level of 59.20. We bounced above it. Let's use that and the 50-day right here as kind of our support moving forward. And again, we want to be tactical. There's no reason to just shoot in the air and hope to hit something. Step by step. Remember, the closer we get to Christmas, the liquidity drops, the volume drops. If not, we're just going to be trading against each other. That's not what I want. I want to make sure you guys get paid. That's the goal. So we had quantum computing stock, QBTS. Great job to Investment Club for catching that for over a bag or something. Some of them got like 150%. Well done. Maybe it was at 125. And then the options members got 3 for 3 this week. I think we did Microsoft. Let me see. What did we do this week? Yeah, we had that VIX, Google, Boeing, and Apple. So we all had those calls on Monday. So we made sure to get our bones on Monday. And then we were chilling FOMC. But I am short NVIDIA with Masterclass. And this was part of the watch list this past week. We do have a head and shoulder setup. Let's go to the 4-hour. 1, 2, 3. Here's your left shoulder. Here's your head. Here's your right shoulder breaking down. The only concern is that is 130 your support, but we broke below it twice. I still say NVIDIA hits 125 by next week. We had Micron report earnings. Their guidance was weak. Their expectations were weaker than expected. Again, it's all about expectations out there. The higher stock prices go, guys, expectations go higher. Just imagine if you had a child that was an honor student, straight A's. The second they get a B in something, you're going to freak out. That's pretty much how investors are. Very, very jittery, especially near all-time highs, team. So I just want to go ahead and reiterate that. Listen, in terms of the FOMC and the Federal Reserve and President Trump being president again, I have traded through the first administration of President Trump. 2017 was great. The end of 2018 was a nightmare. We had a pullback kind of similar to what we had yesterday. And then we bounced back in 2019. So let's make this even easier. We're looking for dips to buy. It's still a bull market. President Trump is probably going to give us some tax cuts, less regulation. So initially, it should be bullish. We are front running a lot of good news, but I want everyone to keep an eye on Bitcoin. That's going to be our barometer of risk. As long as that's above 100,000, in my opinion, I think stocks are still fine. But if that breaks below 100K, keep in mind, a lot of people might be taking profit at those levels. You'll probably see the similar kind of price action or moves downside for stocks, especially tech stocks. You can see NVIDIA pulling back ever since, what was it? A couple months ago. When was it? When was the highs? Shoot, just last month. Last month we hit what, 152? I think that was probably from the conference call and earnings. So we got that pop. So again, at the end of the day, profit taking happens. We're going to get some rechecking. We filled a couple gaps on S&P and the NASDAQ. We take it from there. So let's go ahead and answer some questions. Enough of my diatribe or soliloquy. Good morning, Carlos. It's been a minute. That it has. That it has, because I have been doing the radio on the Discord server for our paid members. So we can be a little more detailed on what we're looking for. Good morning. Good morning. The way S&P dropped yesterday after 2 p.m. was phenomenal. Yeah, what you just saw there was a stop run. So everyone who was long, and I know many who were, they got hit, and then stop losses get hit. What happens there? You got to sell, and then it causes a cascade effect. Welcome to December 2018. Me crying at my desk. Been there. And that was very, very long. Long in stocks. I had options. I went 0 for 11 that week trading. So imagine just the absolute devastation I had in signals. 0 for 11. That's back in December 2018. We bounced back. Everything was okay. The next week I got 7 for 7. So not all fixed, but all's well that ends well, at least. In that regard, those kind of stop runs, obviously I learned my lesson. December Feds. Oh man. So that's what we got. You had a lot of people who were just positioned wrong. Stops were hit, and you get this kind of big old red candle to the downside. Elevator down, escalator up. Let's take a look at AMD. I love AMD, by the way. Lisa Su is a great CEO. I think the stock price is not reflective of what's the possibilities. But technicals are technicals. And if you guys remember back in 2023, early 2024, there was one stock in particular that had a very similar setup. His name is Tesla. This downward channel. Tesla was there. I'll even show you. How do I know this? Because we traded options on it. Now, obviously, since the sore job, but look at this. We were in this downward channel. Very similar. I expect not this, but like this kind of move up, a bounce back for AMD. The question is when? $100 a share would be a very great start. The only concern I have is that this might be our initial support at 122. Not a bad place for AMD. Not a bad place, but 100 or so would be excellent. But you're talking about another 20% down. Is that likely for AMD? We would need some really bad news. So I'm leaning here that it's time to buy some AMD. Be a little bullish AMD. I'm going to look for some calls and see if we can get this bounce over to this gap fill at 137.18. You can see it here. So we'll use that as our first major target. And 120 being our support, 120.55. That's the 61.8 fib line. I think I have it reversed, so I have it backwards. I always have my fib lines backwards. But 120 being support here, that's what we're going to use. Keep an eye on AMD. AMD might be the trade to keep an eye on. You can see we had a little resistance here. This was back in 2023 July. So kind of a recheck back there. I might be a little greedy waiting for 100. So I think 120, we might be it. I think AMD long here is the play. Old member, blew my account there with you. In 2018? Oh man, I didn't blow my account, but 2018 was bad news. That was terrible. Good morning, Carlos. IWM in the coming months. All right, let's see it. See that green line right there? 219.60? Bounced pretty much to the T. Let's get above the 100-day first. That would be a really great sign. The 100-day has been holding really since April of this year. So we're going to use that 222 as kind of our next level of kind of a jumping off point and then target 230. I think the prudent way would be to wait for 225 or maybe 226, and then we'll do the 230 calls. I like IWM for a bounce. Absolutely. What level would be to watch for a downturn again? Just yesterday, you got to understand, just yesterday, the Dow was down, 1,100 points? And it's had like consecutive days, 12 consecutive days of being down. Blame United Health. So again, just like upside, it gets overblown. Downside, the same. So I tried to trade Dow futures Monday and got hit for 50 points. Again, 50 points out of 43,000 isn't that much, but again, I'm glad we did because it accelerated down. I think S&P is going to be kind of the play here. I'm waiting for around 6,000 to break, and then we could target that 50. If we go to YM, again, Dow, you still got a little more to go. I would prefer that we hit this 100-day. and then we can use that as our pivot back to the upside. We haven't tagged the 100-day since August on the Dow. So again, a recheck would be nice. I'm going to wait on that because we're below the 50, but I think the NASDAQ, the S&P looks very, very nice for continued upside. We just got to wait for it. How big of a retracement bounce do you expect today? Well, we do have Nike after the bell. We'll have to take a look at that here in a second. But yeah, I mean, once you're pulling back 3%, you usually retrace 50% of a move, a really bad upside or downside move. You get some just selling, profit taking. So I would say if we were looking at it here, 61.35 from the bottom at 59.35, right around 60.42, 60.45, which lines up with, drum roll please, right there, your 20-day. So your 20-day moving average is pretty much the 50% retrace of where we were. That's pretty nice, give or take. So we'll just wait for that. I think that's pretty much your best setup. I like AMD as well. I really want to reiterate that. I like AMD for a bounce. We'll use 120 as support. All right, let me go ahead and go to Instagram and see what's up. Instagrammers, sorry I haven't spoken to you guys in a minute. Are the markets bouncing today? They are right now, absolutely. So in terms of S&P, expect a bounce of the 50% retrace. If we get above 6,000, 60.50 is my target. That's S&P futures. Bounce incoming, 587 calls. I assume you mean SPY. Is that what it is? SPY? 587? Well, it's at 591 now. So you're in the money. MU took a dump. Again, high expectations. We've talked about this. The higher the expectations, higher the stock price. Now you got 1, 2, 3, 4 quad top. That's going to break. I know we just had a horrible reaction, but Micron is going to bounce, in my opinion. Once it breaks 114.46, you have a gap fill here at 126. We got earnings out of the way. That's fine. The last time we had earnings before that, we had a big jump up, and then we just kind of chopped around. So you can see that we've been kind of knocking on the door. Well, eventually we'll break it. Micron, that's a stock that we have been trading since it was like $8 back in the day. Anyone remember that? Hood, up or down? Where the hood at? Okay, when you say up or down, my question is, what's your time frame? If you're talking about this week, might be a little chop. If you're talking about moving forward, down. You got a couple of gap fills here. You got one at 32, you got one at 30, and you got another at 25. Profit taking is going to happen. We're below the 20-day. I'm going to use 35 as a level. If that pulls back, it may be to be a little bearish on Robin the Hood. Let's see. BA, first target. BA we traded this week. I think we had the 175 calls. Oh, they're still in the money if you held them. Let's see. Yep, see, now we're going to use the 200-day as our jumping off point. Break above 180 on Boeing, it's time to fly away. That's what we're looking for. So Boeing above 180. Did I put it at 180.61? Let's put it at 180. Yeah, that's fine. And really, because of the 200-day. See that red line there? That's your 200-day moving average. You can see that we held even with the Fed nuking the market in a sense with this dot plot. So 180 is what we're looking for on Boeing for continued upside. Make sure to have that in your notes. MSTR. Well, Bitcoin goes down, MSTR is going to go down. And it'll continue to go down if it breaks 100K. If Bitcoin breaks 100K, we got a gap fill at 279. That's what you're looking for. So more than likely, that'll be 311. But it's bouncing, which is nice. So in order to take advantage, let's say if you wanted to do buy the dip and, oh, we're going to go higher, you got to get above 400. That's your 20-day until we're above that. Let's take a look at Apple. The staff wanted to play the bounce on Apple, but we waited. It was a little too long. But C246.51, that's your 51. That's your 161.8 fib extension. We're going to use that as support moving forward. I don't mind the 250 calls on Apple as long as it holds 246. So Apple might be a call today. Maybe. Tesla back up. Yeah, Tesla will bounce back. The problem is when. Right now it's 452. You're way above the 20. Very difficult to trade here unless we get some accelerated profit taking, but we're just not there yet. In terms of what we can do for continue, maybe the 500 calls, what would we break? 467 would be nice. Kind of that top end of that candle. That'd be a good start, but very, very difficult because it's more expensive every day as it goes. Hasn't been following the Bitcoin pattern. You're talking about MSTR? Yeah, it's a proxy, but not exactly. Even BITO is not exactly moving with Bitcoin. Very wacky. Okay. Instagram, thanks for the questions. Hello, what do you think about DIA? That's the Dow Jones ETF. The problem is that DIA is beholden to one major stock, and it's called United Health. And when your CEO is, taken out, it's usually not a good thing for the stock. So a lot of that is UNH. And yes, yesterday was pretty bad. You're right now near the 100-day. If you hold 422, then yeah, we're looking for a bounce on DIA. I don't trade DIA much. I'm more spying cues, and with futures, it's just a little easier for me, let's just say. All right. All right, team. I'm going to go ahead and end the call here. I'm going to go on the radio with my team so we can go over kind of what to expect moving forward for the day. Last 2 days were pretty boring, so it's time to take advantage of this volatility. If you guys are interested in joining the live market blog, it is free. Not all channels are free, but it is free there. So you can see now we have 2,086 members. Christmas time. Love it. Love to have you guys on board. Make sure to go to the website and we will see you on. And if I don't speak to you guys again, which more than likely I will, have a great and Merry Christmas and a happy holidays to you and your family. We'll talk later. Have a great rest of your day. Happy Thursday. Cheers all.